if you're listening to this podcast, be forewarned that we will make inappropriate jokes and use bad words. I was going to say inappropriate words, but words, are they ever really inappropriate? I don't know. Look, if you don't like off-color humor, guys, us being idiots and swear words, this might not be the podcast for you. And if you're worried about your kids not wanting to hear the words because you're listening to this while you're working on your tank, your kids can handle it. So just, suck it up, play it for your kids. They'll learn a lot about being in the world. This is Reef Beef. Today on Reef Beef, we've got a special guest, Rich P., who's back to update us on what happened with his Kalk Snowstorm that you may know about from Craig Bingman's Magna Talk. Reef Beef sponsored by saltwateraquarium.com, Champion Lighting, and powered by PolypLab. My name is Rich.
And my name is Ben.
This is Reef Beef.
Richard, it's book time. It's
book time.
It's time for books. Do you have a book?
I do. My first?
Yeah.
You do yours first.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, Scott Michaels, Reef Fishes, Volume 1. Look at the girth, first of all. It's a girthy book. Man, this is seriously one of my favorite books that I've had for so long. And again, I love these books where, so basically he goes through it here and it's like, it's funny, it's scientific, but it's not, because he has like the families, genus, species breakdown. And when he talks about a family, he gives like a couple pages about captive care, where they're found. And then he dives into it, like into specific things. But so it's got the good like scientific background, but he doesn't make, all of the reading is geared towards, like aquarium keeping of stuff. So it's not some like, just like a field manual, just, he gives his opinion on how stuff is to keep. And again, like the last book I showed, I love that the beginning, he goes into taxonomy, talks about taxonomy, which is all probably wrong nowadays. But he goes into like how a reef is set up and like care, captive feeding, size limitations. Oh, it's all down here. This is a killer book. I'm not sure how available it is anymore. It put out by Microcosm. Is there like should I be saying the ISBN number? Or
no, you shouldn't even be talking about any of that. People want the book. They can find the book.
Scott Michael.
He's
Scott W. Michael.
I
never got to meet him.
He's such a fun guy. He's so much fun.
I've never met him. I'd love to meet him.
He's so funny.
This is a killer book.
Right on.
Your turn.
My turn. I've got a 3-book set. Reef Fishes of the East Indies.
Whoa.
By Jerry Allen and Mark Erdman.
Oh, wow.
And this is the non-aquarium version of the book Ben just showed us. This is a 3-volume set of all the West Indies fishes. So everything about the actual fishes you want to know is in here. It doesn't go over aquarium care.
Okay.
But if you want to know IDs and you want to know where they're from, and actually Volume 1's got a bunch of cool info in it at the beginning.
Ranges.
It talks about reefs and areas of the East Indies and biology of reef fishes. It's got spawning frogfish.
Oh wow.
The psychedelic frog. Oh, this book's got some cool stuff in it. This volume. It's a little spendy. It should be still available.
Yeah, those look nice.
But
I don't have that one.
It's a great set of books. I highly recommend it. It looks like this on the front.
That almost looks like Charlie Veron's.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing, but I wasn't going to mention that because we haven't gotten to those yet.
Yeah.
So
all right. It's book time. It's book time. Here is our books.
Oh, I blew it.
Hey, Richard.
Ben Jammin.
What's your favorite online retailer to order from?
Saltwateraquarium.com.
Man, what virtues can you tell me about saltwateraquarium.com?
Virtues. saltwateraquarium.com has got an app. Oh,
Look at that right there.
Look, and then it changes, and you
rolling.
can buy stuff from the app. I like the app a lot. But what I really like about them is they're a big small company, meaning they're big enough that they can stock stuff at the prices that everyone wants, but they're still hands-on. They're still small enough that the folks there are approachable and know what's going on with their business. So they do smart things like they have 3 distribution centers. So you get your stuff fast. Usually I order stuff in the morning and it's often shipped the same day. So that's pretty hip. I like that a lot about them.
Man, for me, they have wholesale now.
Oh,
well, now it's been several months now, but I was looking at some of their cleanup crew prices too, and their prices are good.
yeah.
I'm about to make a order for some dry tropic marin, all for Reef.
Nice. And I like that they've got cleanup crew and they've got ORA stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the best freaking display screen at trade shows ever.
Yeah.
And I like that Ken keeps his grandfather in a box in the downstairs and forces him to do packing in exchange for food.
I've heard that he has like raw lamp cords like on his body, and when he doesn't like process a package fast enough, they plug it in.
Yeah. That's how business is done nowadays.
So thank you, saltwateraquarium.com. If you love us, you love them, please use our URL down below so they know that you came to them via us. And also when you order from them, please write something silly in the memo box.
Oh, I blew it.
Oh, I blew it.
What's going on, Rich?
Not too much. Just trying to get the tank settled in, and it's coming along little by little.
So on episode 55, it was called Kalk Snowstorm, and you were one of the first beefers we ever brought on the show, and you had this issue where you were testing and you thought your alk was way off, and you jacked it up, and you just did a total freeze up with your tank.
Yes.
Right. So it was. Let me see if I get this right. Something was reading incorrectly and you kept adding more caulk. Right?
Possibly, yes.
Right. Something caused you to keep adding caulk when in hindsight, that was the wrong thing to do. And you had a whiteout event in your tank, and Bingman was very excited about it and talked about it at MACNA. And we appreciate that. Listen, people, and I see you like going, oh,
Yeah, I was watching his video, and then he said, he brought Reef beef, and then after I went, oh my goodness.
Well, I think from our side of it, that's like the biggest, awesomest thing you could do is talk about a problem publicly. And I've written articles about, I killed everything. I did because I think that's so instructive and useful for other people to hear how that happened. And so if you want to hear the dissection of what caused the Kalk Snowstorm, we already talked about that. And Bingman talked about it. And now it looks like now you're going to tell us everything about, you're going to catch us up with what you sleuthed from last time and what you've done, right?
Yeah. So obviously I took the calc stir off. And
it was the Kalk stir.
Sorry. Yeah. So I went straight 2-part.
Okay.
Because before I was doing both, crazy.
Kalk and 2-part.
Yes.
Okay.
So then I went back to, like we talked about, doing water changes much more consistent. So I was doing water changes more and just 2-part. Rich, you actually were right, because you were debating on if the water changes was enough as far as volume goes, and it was not.
Enough for what?
The water changes. I was doing water changes every 2 weeks, about 35 gallons.
Gotcha.
And it wasn't enough for the size for the water volume that I have.
Enough for?
Well, I ended up I did an ICP, which I know you love those. And the minor and trace were total zeros. And this was after about 2 months of doing more water changes, more and more and more. Did a second one with another company, same thing.
Okay. So it wasn't enough. It for whatever reason, might have been the Kalk event. A lot of your elements were terribly low.
Yes.
And you were trying to do 30 or 35% water changes to bring them back up, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So
what was I right about? Because that
you had said that you didn't think the percentage of water that I was changing was high enough.
Gotcha. Okay.
That sounds crazy to me.
It's not.
Well, it was every 2 weeks, not every week. And I don't think it's even 35% because total water volume is about 220. And I was changing about 30 gallons every 2 weeks.
So you pull that water out, you put the new stuff in, which only has enough trace elements for it, right? It doesn't have extra. And then that's diluted, 6 into 65% more volume. Yeah, that's not going to catch up.
Yeah.
And it does, and it didn't.
But you're saying catch up though. What are you trying to do? You're trying to get minor and trace elements only from water changing?
Yeah, because I didn't think I had anything in the tank that was really going to absorb the minor and trace, minor elements.
I just wouldn't look at it that way personally. And I don't mean to start a log jam here at the beginning, but it's just like,
yeah, you do.
With water change, I mean, God, I guess you could just boil that down to like, what is someone trying to achieve through water change? Trying to lower nitrates or trying to, add minor. I just think if you're having a problem with minor and trace elements, based off of ICP, which I'm squirmy on, but
I didn't know
just dose.
Well, that's what I ended up doing. I didn't know that at the time, though.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not like, correct me if I'm misstating, Rich. It's the trace elements he was looking at were like all tanked. It wasn't even like I just need a little bit. He was
not affected.
It was a problem. And when he found that out, then he started dosing.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So I went, for whatever reason, I'm like, all right, let's try the Kalk stirrer again, and let's just see what it does. And I've been very diligent about leaving the tank alone. Even if I thought something was going on, if the numbers weren't there, whatever. I mean, I would do when I did water tests, I did like 3 different tests just to check each other, and I would just leave it alone. So I put the reactor back on, and the ALK went from, when I was doing 2-part, about 9.5, and it just kept going down with the Kalk reactor. Left it alone. I just let it keep on going. Went down to about 8, and then it kind of stabilized. And it's by itself, and I haven't done anything. No 2-part, just the Kalk reactor. And that's where I'm at now. Then I did the another ICP test, which came back with the minor and trace with basically bottomed out. So I started dosing that, and it's gonna sound good. I only have really a lot of leathers. Okay, I've got a couple of test SPS in there, and I got some LPS now because I had to restock everything. So the polyp extensions, even on the leathers, which I know has nothing to do with, but when I started putting in the trace elements, the polyps got bigger, well, longer, I should say, on the leathers. So that was that was nice. But I'll do another test in about another 30, 45 days to see where it's at.
Just out of curiosity, what are you using for trace elements?
Isolate.
Oh, okay, from that Captivate company?
Captivate.
Yeah.
From a sponsor.
Yeah. Okay, so you're doing it by hand?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Every day before I go to work, I put in. Started with 5 drops, which was lower than it was supposed to be. And now I'm at 2 weeks now. Week. Going on 2nd week. Now I'm hitting 10 drops.
Have you done it ICP since you started with No.
Not yet. I just started it.
God, I'm tempted to say, let us pay for a test and now. And then
the one I got was from last 2 weeks ago.
How long but that was, when did you start dosing the isolate?
When I got that back.
Yeah. The reason I'm saying that is because I'm kind of interested in how much has it gone up now versus how much has it gone. So yeah, we'd be happy to pay for a test next week. If you want to do it, let us know and we'll send you the money for it. I think that would be interesting.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I'll do another. Yeah, I'll do another test.
I remember another thing that we talked about on that episode number 55, though, is that you had that sort of what you thought was like a fancy, testing machine. Mm-hmm. And that was sort of what got you in trouble, right?
Yes and no. So I've been doing double checks and triple checks. Believe it or not, the spin touch has been the most consistent. And you got to love forums. And someone was asking a question, hey, does anyone have this? And I, of course I responded back like an idiot. And, oh, those things are horrible. Everyone who doesn't have one says how horrible it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You know what? It's consistent. And when I do use a Hannah checker, they're all good.
Is that Lamotte?
Lamotte. Yeah.
That's the one that they were selling. They were trying to get. Yeah. And they were marketing that mostly for fish stores.
Yeah. The API version.
What does that thing test and how much is it?
When I bought it, it was like $8.99, but now it's higher.
It's more. Good.
But you get 8 tests on it, 6 tests, and you can download the reports. It puts it on, and each test.
It sort of looks like a Hawk little bench.
It's a little bench thing, and you put the disc in. Yeah. Right. And the disc does the test and then it sends it up to the cloud. Then you get back.
Yeah. It reads it right on the reader, or you can Bluetooth it to your phone or the cloud. So
you literally just put the disc in, put your water in, close it and press a button and it does all 8 tests.
Yeah.
Oh,
that sounds cool.
I might buy one of these.
It sounds cool as hell if it works.
They went up in price. These used to be about $1.25 each. Now they're about $1.75. And
that's for each time you test.
Yep, each disc.
Okay. And do you calibrate it or anything?
Yes. Yeah, you calibrate.
What's that process like?
It's you literally put the disc in, you hit the button, and it spins. And it does its calibration.
How much does it calibrate, or does it calibrate every time?
There's a disc that you have that you put in there.
How often do you have to calibrate it?
You can do it. I do it every week. Like because I don't do, I test it once a week anyway, and I just throw it in, calibrate, and do my test.
How much is the calibration disc?
Comes with
it.
Is it reusable?
Yeah.
Wow. I'll look more.
That does sound interesting.
Yeah. So when it first came out, they had it at the fish store, and I wasn't happy with the results that came back. They seemed too wildly inaccurate. And I looked into it a little bit more and I went, oh, they're probably not calibrating it, when there's 10 people using the machine. I think if it's a reasonable machine, which it sounds like it is, one person running it, you're going to learn its foibles and what you need to do to get consistency out of it. So it's probably great. It sounds way better than the friggin' I bought the Hawk, the Hannah things, just so I had the same white cane as everybody else, but I don't enjoy using them. There's the user experience is annoying to me. Putting a disc in might be anyway. My point is that all testing sucks. Any of it can work. You just have to learn the ins and outs of it. That's what I'm trying to say to people. And because you're liking it and you're having success with it, I'm going to look at it.
To me, it's consistent. I can read it. If something does look out of whack, I do other tests.
You do a corroborating test.
Yeah.
With the understanding that that test is not going to, even on a perfect day, it's not going to match whatever parameter, but you just want to see if it's, double check.
Yep.
If the spin tester says 10 of something, and then you check it by hand of something that says 80, then I'd be like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But 10, 20, 10, 15.
They've all been, as I said, they've all been in line with each other. So then it's fine.
Great.
Oh, I blew it.
Oh, I blew it.
This show is powered by PolypLab. And when we say powered by PolypLab, we mean that it is powered by Reefroids.
Yeah, we literally, you wonder what's in my drink. It's Reefroids.
The thing I do with Reefroids, when I walk up to Aquarium and put a fat pinch in the main pump and it storms the tank, I get my stuff ready and then I clean the tank up after that. I think it's a good way to get food in and then get it out.
Yeah, and I use it as part of the suite of foods that I power feed, heterotrophically feed my corals. And this is one of the ones that I use a lot. I don't mix them up into one big mix. I like to rotate through because it's the difference between eating gruel and having a meal at a different restaurant. So I think that helps. And actually we see some different, I see some different reactions to foods over time. They seem to maybe get bored of foods and they want something else. So I've been using this for a long time. I like it. I like the PolypLab company. I think they're nice people.
Powered by PolypLab.
Oh, I blew it.
Oh, I blew it.
So you're sort of slowly dipping your toe back in by doing, a lot of SP, a lot of softies, maybe some LPS, maybe some easy SPS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm enjoying watching your Royal Gromma kind of dart around on the left side of your thing.
Yeah.
You got a long nose hawk in there too?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was enjoying watching him swim a minute ago.
Bring it.
Oh.
Yeah, let's get our nose in there. Oh man, do you have a convict tang?
You do.
Yep. Yeah, I do. Where is
Rich
he?
P. That's one of my favorite fish, but I
Oh,
always there's
such a good
finicky.
fish.
Oh, that's a nice
in.
purple gorgonian right there.
Yeah, it looks good.
Good coralline.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ben, I did use the bottle as well for the coralline.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Man, this is just going to be just a drawn out saga because, I had mentioned a couple of shows ago that I went through and got another 4 bottles and put it in another 4 tanks. And it only really did anything to 2 of those tanks. So it's not a sure shot. There's some little sort of something with it. It worked for me several times, but it's interesting though, when it didn't do a damn thing a couple times and it just made me go, But so you did notice stuff?
It took a while, but then
Richard's pinching his mouth closed.
I'm sorry. I can't see
Richard's pinching his mouth closed. So that's tricky though. When you say, what do you say a while? How long's a while?
Probably about 6 months.
So, I mean, hey, I'll be the first one to say that's tricky because fucking coralline could have grown up by itself in 6 months.
Yeah. But you also think about it, with the calc and everything else that happened in the tank. So who the heck knows?
If you stabilize shit, the coralline could have just gone on its own in half of a year for sure.
But how much did that bottle cost? $20, something like that?
50 if you get both of them. Did you
50?
do both of them?
50?
Yep.
Okay, that's more money than I would just want to toss at the
I don't
wall.
remember spending that kind of.
I think you're drunk, Ben.
No,
there might be
bottles. The purple bottle's 25 and the pink bottle's 25.
Yeah, there might be $20 each. All right, for $20 each, that's still in the scheme of a reef tank costs. That's something that I can see doing just to feel like I've done something. I'm okay with that, and it might do something. I'm totally fine with that.
Well, I wanted to also say, Rich, you had said I had the Claracy in there. And a whole bunch, and I had the ceramic balls and everything had basically seized up.
Yeah.
So I took everything out.
Yeah.
Even the Claracy. The only thing that's in the sump now is protein skimmer.
Yeah.
And the nitrates, believe it or not, they went up and they came down.
Nope, I believe it.
And then the phosphate actually keeps bottoming out.
That I don't understand.
Our Rich
Leave
P.
it alone. I don't touch it. I leave it alone.
Rich
Let it do
P.
its thing. Yes.
Are you one of these people that fiddle farts around with your nitrate and phosphate?
No.
I love you.
Now, a year ago, yeah, I probably would have.
Yeah.
Do you know that's just like what it just seems when you go on forums or look at just people talking, it's just like everyone is fiddle farting around with nitrate and phosphate.
Yeah.
Say it, Rich.
Left it alone.
I'm so torn with this, right? It's what we were talking about at the beginning. I don't mind people fiddling farting around with nitrate and phosphate, right? People have got to learn, and the only way they learn is by fiddling and farting around. That's how you learn, right? The problem is that nitrate and phosphate have become for many people the recipe, the magic bullets, and it just doesn't pan out that way.
As a matter of fact, like, I mean, I had to be careful with this statement, but it just feels like so many people are fucking around with nitrate phosphate and then, having troubles when they bottom one or the other out. And it's just like, I don't think that they would have half of these problems if they just left it the fuck alone. Keep an eye on it. Don't let it get way out of control, but just do your maintenance, man. And don't like it. And that's the thing that Rich and I always talk about. It's like you did a phosphate test. You're like, oh my God, it's this. You're freaking the fuck out over a number. Look at your tank. Does it look fine? Then calm the fuck down.
That's why when I decided to do something about my phosphate, it was really slow. The lanthanum, when I started it was like, this is a 2-year project, right? I should see an initial drop, over the first couple months. But if it is really bound up in my rocks, if that's a thing, that's going to take a long time, or it's going to take a bunch of time or some time to pull out of the rocks and get exported, right? And the water changes at the same time. And all the food. So I did a very small amount over a very long time, because when I looked at my tank, there was nothing wrong with it. Everything looked great. So I'm not going to, only an idiot like me is going to drop their phosphates because I want to see if that even matters, right? But I'm not going to drop them fast because I know bad things happen fast.
Well, I mean, case in point, that several episodes
Kalk Snowstorm.
ago, yeah, no, several episodes ago, I absentmindedly doubled a client's GFO and fucked their tank up. I mean, if you drop the bottom out of phosphate, you will fuck stuff up.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. There's so many good tanks that have nitrate of 30 and phosphate of 0.1 to 0.2 that I just don't get why anyone gives a crap about bringing my nitrate down to 0.5. And, some people say, I guess, that, some of the crazier acros, they need that. I kind of go, just don't keep those. If that's really what you think, why is the juice worth the squeeze? The one fucking tenuous that you've got that's a 1/4 inch long, how much money are you spending to make that grow another 1/4 inch?
I ain't buying that.
Yeah. And again, if you're like ACI, if you're a grower and that's what you're doing, I get it. You want to maximize everything and you've got the scale to make it matter. But if it's for pleasure, it just seems like, like working out instead of taking a sauna.
Oh, I blew it.
Oh, I blew it.
Richard,
Ben.
we are also brought to you by Champion Lighting.
They sent me this box.
They did, and nothing in the box.
No,
Good
there was
job,
a bunch
Todd.
of stuff in the box.
What's in the box?
T-shirt, bottle opener. That's a
Yeah.
weird bottle, a round bottle. I don't understand, Todd. What is that? What's the
So you
round
can-
side open, Mike? What is
So you
that?
can jiggle it.
But the thing, besides the other thing, the things I was excited about was the food samples. And I like them because I got the smallest sizes they have. This is the one for fish, the planktivore fish size. So that's small,
really?
but not quite small enough for corals, but it's good and small. This is just another plankton, and it's under 800 microns. And this one, Invigorate, is right. This is the Captivate food, right? So this is what I was looking for. And it's picoplankton, 0.2 to 2 microns. So I've started feeding these foods yesterday, and I dig them. I dig them.
So Champion Lighting is the only one carrying this Captivate product line. So check them out. Thank you for sponsoring us, Champion Lighting.
Out. Have fun, Champion Lighting.
Have fun.
Oh, I blew it.
Oh, I blew it.
Back to the spin touch road on Phosphate, it does not go down. It only goes like to 0.1. So if you're trying to get it down to 0.05 or 0.02, it won't go that low.
What's it reading now? Or recently?
On the spin touch, it says 0. So I have to use.
Does it read 0 if it's below 0.1?
It'll say 0.1.
So how can it read 0 if it's because it might actually be reading 0? What do your other tests show? Same thing?
They'll come back like 0.02.
It's so low.
Does it jive with the ICP?
ICP came back.
Grab it, brother.
Yeah, it actually, the ICP came back higher than what my home test was saying. I think it was reading it at 0.1. 0.11.
I think 0.02 and 0.1. That's yeah.
Right. That's such a mind fuck.
That's what makes me want to not give a shit.
Exactly. Me too.
As long as it's not 0.0.
Testing is such a mind fuck.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to say about the spin touch that I don't care actually what you're using unless I don't care. You use it, you figure out how it works for you to get consistent results. That's all we give a shit about.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my goodness, I tried this test. And I'm like, it keeps coming back the same. Like, what the hell am I doing? I'm like, I already bought the damn thing. I'm going to use it.
Right.
Especially since you paid $900 for it. I would keep that son of a bitch for forever.
Yeah. So if it works, it's worth it. That's freaking once a week. You put a disc in, you go, oh, great.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see one at a show.
Did you tweak your reef breeders for this show?
Right now, I have it on. The tank would have been going to sleep by now. So I have it up on like the whites at 30 and like a little bit of blue and a little bit of, I can change it if you want.
No.
It looks good.
I'm saying because for, me looking through the camera and looking at your tank, as incredible color rendition.
Yeah.
Oh,
remember
cool.
I changed mine too. And it's like 25% white and just like 5% of the rest of them.
Yeah.
And I had to turn down the intensity. Anything above 25%, it all blew out. And it looks almost okay. So that's pretty awesome. How weird that if you're going to be on video with your tank, mess around with the lights, and you're going to be really surprised at the difference. And what a bizarre setting you're going to have to make it look good for the camera.
Yeah, the last one was all blue. I'm like, oh my goodness, it looks like hell.
Blue hell.
So,
welcome to blue hell. I'm the blue hell devil.
Blue hell.
The BHD.
Moving forward, you learned a lot from this.
Yeah, biggest thing, leave the damn thing alone.
Thank you. Amen.
Yeah. Looks like it's going in the right direction. I bought that acro there, which is one of the reasons why I had did an ICP, because it started bleaching like from the bottom and everything. And I'm like, all right, there's got to be more to this. So that's where I started doing with the trace elements, and it stopped. So hopefully it'll heal. Montes are my Achilles heel. I can't keep them for whatever reason. And I picked up some more hammers, and they seem to be doing all right as well.
With the Montes, it doesn't matter what kind, like digitata, capricornus, undata, anything.
So far, I just tried the plating. It's
some tanks won't hold Montes or SPS or Acros for a while, and it's a weird thing. And I wonder if there is maybe Snowman will put up a huge Rich is just hypothesizing.
Back of the napkin, sir.
Maybe with the sand and the rock and the blah blah blah. How old is the tank again?
Now it's just going on 2.
Just 2. Yeah, then maybe that won't work. I don't know. Maybe people are deficient in trace elements with newer tanks because maybe they're binding to the rock or binding to the substrate before they heat it, make an equilibrium and start showing up in the water column where they belong. Maybe
we'll see what this one does in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. Well, and I think trace elements are another one of those things. They're not expensive, and it's
sort of a blanket.
And you have to do something wrong to fuck up with trace elements. You have to put a lot in to cause a problem.
Yeah, and I don't like the scenario where someone that's like, I don't change water very often, and then they're adding trace elements. I know there's methods to doing that, like sort of like the Triton method, and but that causes you to do a bunch of ICP tests, which I don't really, I'm not comfortable with that. But I do like the sort of maybe my tank needs trace elements, and then pick a trace element and stick with it, and add it lightly and sort of move up, and doing your regular water changes, because if you're adding trace elements and if you're not changing water, some of that stuff turns into not trace anymore. Things are getting utilized, but some things maybe aren't getting utilized. But I just like that water change to sort of reset, or at least dilute, bring the train back onto the tracks.
Yeah. And at the same time, I also think that, the trace elements might just make you feel good. It might feel good to pay $20 for a bottle of stuff, and you put 20 mils of it in every 4 days. And boy, my tank looks great since I started doing this.
I traced it.
Well, it's increased now from 30 gallons to 60 gallons every 2 weeks on the water changes, because the 30 just wasn't enough. And now
I still have problems with that Rich P.
Not enough?
No. Let's say if you were a maintenance client, how many gallons is that?
Total water is about 220.
Now, 220. I think I'd go to your house, and I'd if you had a lot of money, I'd be at your house once a week. If you didn't have a lot of money, I'd be at your house every other week. And either way, I'd still probably change about the same amount. It feels like your tank to me would be like a 3-bucket tank. And it depends whether I'm using my 7-gallon buckets or my 5-gallon buckets. So 15 to 20 gallons.
Yeah, I think that my friends don't get addicted to water. You will miss it when it is gone. Everyone should call me a Morton Joe from now on. That's what I want my name to be.
All over the camera.
Yeah, I think once everything is up and running, your 30-gallon water change probably be fine.
Fine.
I think where you're at now, I'm not sure if you need to err on the side of bigger water changes more often. I do. I don't know. It's 8 gallons a day on 450 gallons.
40 ounces a week.
Yeah.
48 a week.
Yeah. So it's
almost 50% a month, right? 8 times 3 is 24, 240 gallons.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds right.
8 gallons a day, 30 days.
I like watching people do math.
30 times 8, 240. So 240, and you have a how many gallon system?
About 450, probably 5 now, actually.
450.
It's almost
So, but-
50%.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
It's probably closer to 40% with the effective water change calculation.
Yeah.
But
They're
that's,
exchanging water.
yeah, that's still a lot. So maybe I am doing more than I think. So I'm wrong. You should up your water changes. Double it.
Up the water changes.
Double
Okay.
it.
Rich P. The thing I like though is, you know, I see too many people like, I have a problem with my tank. And it's like, how much water are you changing? Like, not a whole lot, not very often. It's like, start changing small amounts of water more frequently. And, you know, you might be talking about a couple months and you're sort of, you know, as if you're a stuck vehicle, you're sort of, you know, wiggling the vehicle to get out of the rut. And then once you get out of the rut, start going down the road again, you know, you could probably back off a little bit. But, and see, I do this as a business. I sort of trial and error every time I'm out there changing a certain amount of water. And in my head, in the way I work as a maintenance guy, I'm like, oh, that's a 2 bucket a visit tank. Oh, that's a 5 bucket, you know, whatever it is. And I find that sweet spot. Like, you know, when I change two buckets in a visit and I come back the next time that I visit, it doesn't look that great. So I do an extra bucket and then I sort of find the sweet spot, you know, with that.
I think in the Reef Beef book, which I actually have an idea of how to write, but we have to decide if a book makes any sense. I had an idea of it this week. Anyway, there'll be a section that will be like, pretend that your own tank is a tank that's hired you to do maintenance on it.
Yes.
Right. Just fucking leave it alone.
That
Yes.
Rich P, that is a weird thing. There was a conversation that Rich and I were having where I was like, God, and I don't mean this to sound
Yeah, you do.
arrogant or anything, but it's like,
Well,
you know, I have good luck with my accounts. You know, I feel like I work at a high level, but you know, and I was telling Rich, like, there's all these people with these problems. And I wonder, I try to figure out what I'm doing to boil it down into words to where I can help people, you know, and Rich and I sort of figured out, it's like, it's probably that you don't fuck, because my clients, I don't typically pick up like pseudo hobbyist clients. I pick up clients that do not fuck with their tanks. They wouldn't even know what to do if they wanted to. They own an oil company. They're a doctor. They're a whatever. They're not there to mess with the aquarium. But the thing is
now you made
there's
it
a lot
weird.
to be said for no one fucking with the tank for a week to 2 weeks.
We've talked about, yeah.
Leave it the fuck alone.
We
Leave
talked
it
about
alone.
it. I got a list of now 5. I lost a coral. A coral ran in my tank. One coral ran. I was like, oh, it's a bummer because it was looking really good. And I think I know what happened, but I don't give a shit because everything else looks fine. I'd rather have one coral go down, just back the fuck off, leave it alone. And so now I've got a list of 6 or 8 things I need to do in the tank. And it's finally coming to the point where it's like, I've got enough things and they're varied enough that I actually have to do them soon. Right. So there's a lot of stuff you go, I can put that off. I can put that off. Oh shit. Now I'm going to get on the other side of this if I don't actually do some stuff. But I've got enough stuff to finally warrant moving my lock line around and getting into the tank and actually cleaning the glass.
I do have one question.
Go.
With the sand, the gravel, the substrate, where basically a lot of it under the rock is now just formed as a rock.
Yeah.
Should I be concerned about it? Should I try and get it out of there? Which means I'd have to take basically all the rock out and kind of try and break it apart, or just kind of cross fingers and leave it alone. And
you remember on episode 55 when we had you on, it was crazy because I had a client that brought me in and had done the exact same thing that you had. I mean, it turned his mechanical filters into stones.
Oh yeah,
and all that stuff like that. He had Calerpa. He had Chitomorpha in his refugium, and it turned that when I grabbed it, it like shattered like a mummy. You know, it did all this stuff, and
it's shattered like a mummy.
Yeah,
when have you ever touched a mummy,
bro? Listen, I shatter mummies on the daily,
but we don't. Then The analogies
I'm
only
sorry
work.
if you've never shattered a mummy, okay?
The worst analogy ever.
Okay.
Hey, that's like me
a
going,
mummy's
hey,
wrapping.
no, it's like when the corals spawn. And then you
Yeah.
guys would be like, fuck you.
Here comes the pillow, Richard.
Sorry.
But
Please do tell the listeners and viewers what makes it turn into stone.
well, the precipitation, the calcium, magnesium precipitating out and bonding together calcareous materials.
So I just want you say it like I'm an idiot, but some people listening don't know, and so we have to and may not have seen episode 55. So we're just, and I am an idiot. Pillow, where's the pillow?
Pillow. But so I'd go gravel vac at this guy's house, and he had the same thing you had. It had fused the substrate together.
Yeah.
And I'd pick out little rocks, the substrate, and and throw them out. I'd bust some up if they were, letting me bust them. But if it's underneath, of your rock structure, God, I mean, could that hurt anything? Could it cause a anaerobic zone? But could it make hydrogen sulfide? I don't know. I feel like I'd leave it alone. I mean, what are you gonna do? Tear your whole tank apart?
Well, that's the thing. I really didn't. I'm sitting there going, I don't want to do that. And
I don't see it necessary.
Is there substrate in there that isn't a solid block?
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it crap then.
It's almost as if you have rock going straight to the bottom of your tank. I mean,
it looks like on your right side. Look to your right. Yeah. On your right side, it looks like there's very little sand there. And on the left side, it looks like there's a bunch.
Yeah, that's the pumps. The waves that get blown away.
Yeah. If you added, and that looks like more than enough sand. If you wanted to add more, you could, but I wouldn't at all worry about if it's under the rocks, it's doing its job. And there's just they're rocks now. So you're good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're definitely rocks.
You made Rich P's guide to making rocks.
Yeah, dude. As a matter of fact, maybe take it out and sell it.
Yeah, right. All the calcium you want.
Yeah.
What else, Rich? What else can you tell us? Not that you have to ask us anything. What is there anything else that you can tell us about what's going on?
I'd like to get some more into the, get more LPS and even SPS, but the long polyp coral, it looks like it's got, I don't know, I guess it's splitting because it's got like a hole in the middle of them.
The leather?
The leather?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Yeah. Keep an eye on it that it's not getting gooey. Oh, on the side there?
Yeah,
that's probably
that.
fine. Just, make sure it doesn't get gooey. You're fine.
Okay.
And for the SPS, for the Montes and the Acros, I think you're doing it exactly right. Keep getting frags. Duh. And don't get a lot of them, and test it and do one or two and watch what it does for a week, make some adjustments, and then make your decisions about, eventually you'll be able to be like, oh, I'll just buy whatever I want. But now you're in that zone where weird shit's happening. So just take your time. Seems to me like the tank is definitely looks better. No, I mean, it's not even that it looks better. It looks like a reef tank, and it looks like with 6 months, 3 to 6 months, it's going to be bombing.
Rich,
it's getting there.
Scopus. I personally, now this is subjective, like food and art and Richard's face, but Scopus tangs, I sort of never understood personally how everyone loves them so much. And I see the Scopus behind you. I
love that guy.
You do?
Yeah.
But he stays sort of like half gray, half black.
Yeah, he's got a little purple. There you go. It's hard to see, but he's got a little bit of purple in him.
Okay.
So it's very thin lines, but if he comes back on this side,
they don't get big.
It's a zebrasoma that stays smallish.
They don't get. Is that right? Am I wrong? Maybe that's why people like them, because they're inexpensive, they're readily available, and they don't get huge. I'm going to look that up. Why not?
Maybe I shouldn't be an asshole. Maybe I'm like in the anti-Scopus coalition.
Scopus tang. Oh, they're brown, right?
Grayish, blackish, brownish, beigeish.
A lot of like your mom.
Fishes.
I mean, there he is. I don't know if you can see him.
Yeah. Yours looks a lot like light grayish.
They get a foot long.
What?
That's big.
Which is not as big as some of the other tangs. So
In the ocean.
And if you look at a close-up picture of them, they look a lot like gem tanks. They got
And
lots
on that note, that's our show.
Scopus, the affordable gem tang.
Yeah. Hey, Rich, thank you so much, brother. And
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yep.
Have a great night, Rich.
Have a good night, guys. Take care.
Take care.
That was Reef Beef. We thank you guys for listening. My name's Rich.
And my name is Ben.
And we want to thank Rich P for being our guest. And we want to thank saltwateraquarium.com, Champion Lighting, and PolypLab for sponsoring this episode. And I totally want to thank the Beefers. You guys are so awesome. Guys and people, you people are so awesome, helping us out and keeping us going and sharing the show around. You're very appreciated. And shout out to all the Discord people. Yo. This episode of Reef Beef was hosted by Rich Ross and Ben Johnson, produced by Ben Johnson and Snowman, edited and directed by Snowman, and special thanks to our Prime and Gold level beefers, Scott O, Rich P, Scott C, Pedro, Corey, and Ryan H. This is Reef Beef. Maybe
That's a wrap.
well, why don't you just eat a bag of dicks?
I already did. I'm trying hard to be smart.
This is Reef Beef.
Keep sounding like you're saying Kalk Snowstorm.
This is Reef Beef.
Tank lights on white. I got it on a timer for about 90 minutes. This way we can actually see it. Not like last time where everything was blue and my head was shining. Although the head's still shine anyway.
That was great fun last time, though, so I'm not going to complain about that at all. Okay, I'm sorry. I was hearing all the questions that people were going to be asking in the comments, and I wanted to jump ahead on them. And then people are going to say, "What kind of lights are you running?" And then
Reef breeders.
Reef breeders.
Yeah, the Photon 2s.
Okay. Now,
like your
one of you
Royal
get us
Brahma.
back on track, and I'll try to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So, anyways, as I was saying before, Rich just ran
Oh,
no,
Ben,
sir.
Ben.
No, sir.
I just
Thank God Rich is fine with something. Thank
Rich
you,
is-
mighty.
Rich
mighty
is today.
Jesus.
He's like, this is my show today because Rich and I switch back and forth. And Rich is like, I just don't care. I'm gonna let you run the show.
And I can't shut up.
He can't shut the fuck up. But see my Superman. I'm gonna smother you with a pillow.
Okay, I'm smothered now. I hope it's for me.
Shut the fuck up. I never thought I'd say that.
That was officially too far. What was happening in my head?
Oh man, I'm proud of you because I just let those things flow. The poor man's gem tang.
Oh no! You brought class and economy and sex into it.
I know the poor person's.
The less
fortunate person, the less fortunate person's gem tang.
the less financially fortunate person's gem tang.
Because it's not all about money.
That's right. They might be the super fortunatest person in every other aspect of their life.
It's true. Maybe their kids love them.
Maybe their kids don't swear.
Well, nah. Rich P, do you have kids?
I got 3.
Do they fucking cuss?
Of course.
Oh, okay, good. How old are
One's
they?
23.
Oh, yeah. That motherfucker cusses.
If you go to YouTube and you type in the search Reef, REEF, BVEEF with no spaces, Reef Beef comes up.
What? Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Oh yeah.
Was ist das?
Well, the most recent episode has been out for 4 days. It's got 1,000 views.
That's not shabby.
That's faster than generally I've been.
What-
Um,